Welcome back to another episode of the Burn Factory podcast. What's up, guys? Happy holidays to you all. Welcome back to another episode of the Burn Factory podcast. I'm your host, Priest, joined by my co-host, my brothers, the one and only Vick. Say what's up to the camera.
What's up, y'all?
This is called the Burn Factory for a reason. I was literally caught on fire. 50% chance to survive, but through that started this podcast because I believe every single person out there on this planet goes through a burn moment somewhere in their life. You heard me say a burn moment. So a burn moment is a super hard time in your life where you have to fight and overcome. And me and Priest believe that every single person on this earth go through burn moments that truly make them who they are. But today we kind of have a different episode for you guys. It has almost been 1 year since the start of the Burn Factory podcast, which that's almost insane to see. That this whole year has just been crazy, and a big thank you to you guys. So today, we're going to rewind it back to some of the most impactful burn moments that we have seen. And we've had an amazing lineup of guests this year, from UFC legends like Brandon Moreno, Henry Cejudo, and Uriah Faber, to some Hollywood superstars like Mario Lopez himself. Come on, Fates, you can't forget about the other guys like Michael Vick and Marcellus Wiley, Sean Porter. The list goes on and on and on. But a big shout out to all of our fans out there. Thank you so much for supporting the Burn Factory since day one. What a ride it has been. So big shout out to you guys. Let's continue to share more and more burn moments here on this channel. Yes, big shout out to you guys for all the love and support. But it's time to rewind it back to one of the most influential and amazing moments I've ever been a part of in a podcast. And it's when Priest shares an emotional story with Michael Vick, and Michael Vick even brought out one of his biggest burn moments in his life, going to prison. Right into our next topic and burn. You, unfortunate. I actually want to share a little unfortunate experience myself.
Yeah.
So it's the last week of school. We just moved into this house right on the golf course, as you can see. My dad just bought me a brand new set of golf clubs, and I was actually about ready to play my very first golf tournament.
Yeah.
So pumped. Go to school. Normal day. Science class comes. Walk into the science class. Teacher says she's going to do a science experiment. And I didn't think too much of it. And she's like, yeah, it's going to be involving fire, baking soda. Saying I'm like, oh, cool, fire. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be fun, like, watching something, like, burn and stuff.
Yeah.
So she's like, all right, we got to go outside to do this. And so we all get outside, semicircle, and next thing you know, it's like a bomb goes off. And then that moment, I literally thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
I remember all the kids saying, he's on fire, he's on fire. And ambulance comes. And
You like just
ambulance comes. They put me in the ambulance, and the swelling was getting so bad. They were about ready to fly me to the hospital because they were worried I was going to make it. And the swelling just started getting so bad. And I remember looking at my phone, Snapchat, and my face was completely disfigured.
and it's completely disfigured, and I thought I was gonna look like that for the rest of my life. Not knowing that people were gonna look at me the same. Am I ever gonna get a girlfriend? Are people even gonna look at me the same? Um, but in that tough time, I really found out how strong I was. A couple days go by, and I had my day again, putting. Very good. I had my dad go get my putting, and I put a couple balls into this little glass jar, and slowly but surely, it just started putting a smile on my face. And in that moment, I knew I was gonna fight, and I won. I feel like just unfortunate times. That's such an unfortunate event, like in our life, and for me, I was literally, it was summertime, and I just got out of school, and I was golfing with my buddies here, and I'll never forget that call. Like my dad called me, and I was like, oh, okay, he's probably just calling, like saying like where are you? When are you gonna be home? Kind of thing, and he was like, no, your brother got burned. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe he was just messing with a hot glue gun or something. But he was like, no, they might fight for life him. And I was like, wow. And then just going to the hospital and seeing, like, that's my brother. Like, he's 12 years old. Like, why him? Like, we have such a grounded faith in our family. We went to a Christian school. But not gonna lie, it was hard. It was like, God, like, why did this happen to him? Like, he's so pure. He's so, like, he's a child, man. And there's people out there in this world that do so many horrific things that can't even compare to what he just went through. But at the end of the day, now looking back on it, 3 years, like, look what we have now. We're sitting here talking to you. We're sharing our stories, and for the people listening, like, they're going through some stuff too. Like, not everyone's perfect. Not everyone lives this perfect life. Like, they go through burn moments that a lot of people don't know about. And we feel like that's really what makes you you. It's not the money. It's not the fame. It's not the followers. It's those hard times that you wanted to quit. You were ready. You wanted to mail it in. But you're like, you know what? No. Like, I'm here for a major purpose. So, unfortunate burn moments happen. And with your story, there's been so many unfortunate burn moments that you've had to just fight to get through. So could you share with us maybe some unfortunate burn moments you went through?
Well, I just talk about one, having to go to prison, for 18 months, having to leave my family, having everything that I always worked for in my life, put it in jeopardy, not really understanding the magnitude of what I was going through. And so, it was a burn moment where I jeopardized everything in my life, at the time. And so, for whatever reasons, it was another moment where I had to persevere. You got to persevere. Plenty nights I cried. My wife will tell you, it's plenty nights I cried on the phone and just having my freedom taken away. Just wanting to have a chance to live life again. But knowing that it wasn't going to happen for 2 years. I come from that type of background, but that's not my background. And so, you know, the things I always told myself I wouldn't do, or places I went I ended up. And so I can relate on so many levels to, you know, to tragedy. So, you know, that was a serious burn moment, and for you, man, I understand, you know, the pain. But look how you fought. And it won't be hard to get a girlfriend now. Look good. We're good, man. Yeah, we're right or wrong. Hey, good. You're a lucky man. Lucky young man. Both of y'all.
Super blessed.
It puts a lot of things in perspective too. It's like things can be taken like that.
Yeah.
And so like that saying, like live every day like it's your last.
Yep. No,
I feel like
I have to.
I feel like now, like us, we truly live that like it's our last.
Yeah, man. You mentioned golf, and golf, you know, being one of the reasons why, you know, the feeling of faith came back, you know, the joy, the happiness. You know, people ask me why I play golf, and it's for those reasons, like peace, the solitude, you know, I get to get all these memories, all these things that's jogged on my mind, out of my mind. You know, it's like I said, it's peaceful, and it's challenging. So you get all these emotional aspects of life on the golf course, and people don't know. Even if you make a putt, you miss a putt, that's an emotional swing. Make a good swing, miss one, it's an emotional swing. You see your buddies hit a good shot, you compliment him, you turn your level of competition up. You know, it's amazing what sports can do for you. You know, it's amazing what settings like this can do for you. You know, getting it out and talking about it, man, it's always gonna be therapeutic for you. Being able to talk about, you know, my burn moments is really therapeutic for me, because I don't get to ask the question all the time. I just gotta live with it. And so, you know, I live with a lot of hurt. You know, I live with a lot of regret. You know, so, you know, we all got something. And you never know what else is going to be. You just got to be ready for it.
For sure. Like how you said, you got to treat every day like it's your last. And
Yeah.
even going back to when that unfortunate thing happened, what was that thing that brought joy to you in that?
My family. Yeah, my family. Talking, I only had like 2 minutes a day to talk to my wife and try to figure out what was going on in life, or what was going on in the outside world, whether it was business related, whether it was related to my case, whether it was about my kids. I had 3 minutes a day to talk to the person I love the most. My mom, some days I couldn't talk to her. I have enough minutes on the phone where I could talk to her, you know. So, you know, I'm like, really, like, to me, living in hell. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it could always be worse. I still, you know, I felt like as long as I woke up every day and I could breathe fresh air, I got a chance. I'm one step closer. But, man, I just told myself I'd never take my freedom for granted. Waking up every day, like I say, is a blessing. I don't think people really put true value in what it takes to have your freedom and have opportunity every day. So, you know, hopefully that's something that people gravitate to when they watch this segment.
Sure.
You said your last day in prison was the start of your new life.
Absolutely.
So would you consider that last day like a burn moment? Like, you know what, I'm never going back to this. Like, it's only up from here.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to burn all those memories, but I wanted them to stick. Like, I wanted them to, I wanted to feel those 548 days for the rest of my life to some capacity. Like, I know somewhere, you know, just in my spiritual being, it's like I always think about those moments and those days, how hard it was, and just try to put some perspective on my life when I wake up every day, when I can wake up and be with my family, and I wake up and I got opportunities to do different things and explore different things. And
that was a tough moment. I felt like that was almost like the coming out party of the Berg Factory. It felt like I needed that to really catapult this channel. And I feel like that is the key aspect. But all these stories shared on the Berg Factory is a part of the healing journey. And I think at some point in your life, you go through a really defining moment where you need to heal or where to fuel you. And I think Marcellus Wiley dropped an amazing gem by losing his childhood best friend at such a young age. Take a listen.
My best friend, I was 11 years old, and we had an apartment building kind of facing each other, and he lived right across from me, and we played every day, Hot Wheels, riding our bikes. I had a Huffy. He had a Mongoose, so that's a better bike. But we were...
I don't know those.
Yeah, right. Old school, dude. You have no idea. They don't make them anymore. And he was just my best friend, but more, he was an angel on earth. Like, I don't remember one time this guy being mean or selfish. Like, we playing Hot Wheels. You know, I have kids now. Give them one car. They are fighting over that car. Give them 2 cars. They're fighting over those 2 cars instead of sharing. You have one, I have one, right? He always was giving of his things to me. He was just an angel on earth. I don't remember one bad thing about him. And then one day, it was like a Friday, and he was supposed to come back. We were supposed to race our bikes as soon as he got home from school, as soon as I got home from school. And this time, he's taking longer and longer and longer. And I'm like, he's supposed to be home by now, right? And all of a sudden, we have someone at the door telling us that Corby had been hit by a car, and we had to go to the hospital. And at that age, I didn't think it was something that was fatal. I didn't think it was that bad. Getting hit by a car on your bike, I was like, oh man, he's in the hospital, broken arm, broken leg. I was assuming that. But obviously it was much worse than that. I get to the hospital and his family's there. I'm there. I'm his best friend. And I remember the doctors vividly telling me I couldn't see him. And I was like, why? They were like, because you're not family. And I couldn't reconcile that. I was like, okay, I'm not family, but I'm closer than maybe 3 other people in his world, like his parents and his sister or something like that. I'm family. And they said, no, you can't see him. And I'm sitting there just shocked. I was like, wow. So I don't know how he is, and I can't visually see him. And one doctor tapped me on the shoulder a few minutes later. He's like, come here. He said, your friend's about to leave here, and I want you to see him on the helicopter. And I was like, oh, okay. And he took me to a window, and they rolled him out. And I saw him laying there with the bandages around him and the red blood stain. And that was the last time I saw him. And the craziest thing was, like, it wasn't that I knew that he was dead, because he was still alive at that time. He passed away the next day. And the craziest thing was I wasn't allowed to say goodbye. And that's the lasting image I have of my best friend. And the next day I had a track meet. And this is how I was able to compartmentalize and how able to still push through that railroad, right? I'm still on the tracks no matter what's coming my way. And I did well at the track meet, won all my races. I was really fast at the time, so it didn't disturb me that way. And someone walked up to me. It was like, you okay? Because, you know, you're winning your races. Everybody from the outside doesn't know what's going on. They're like, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And someone ran up and said, nah, his best friend got hit by a car. He's not okay. Then I get the news he passed away. From that moment on, I've had this weird relationship with, like, the deepest parts of love. I've always wanted to go all the way in, dive into the deep end of just loving everyone. But I've always been challenged because it can end like that. So what I've learned from that moment is, obviously, you got to pour yourself into everything, no matter what, even if it's taken away from you, right? Don't be scared to be disappointed. Don't be scared to lose. But I also am always affected by the fact that it could be here today and gone tomorrow. And I literally had to live that out while I was trying to figure out who I was in this world. So that is an unfortunate incident, but it's given me such resolve, such character, that I like lived through that moment. I lived through that legacy.
Gosh, I can't even imagine or describe what it would be like to lose a childhood friend like Marcellus Wiley went through. But almost kind of going back to whenever mom had that near-death tragedy, and if that happens, we're not here.
I went to a party one night, and a party a 17-year-old shouldn't have been at. And there was a lot of drinking and drugs and alcohol, and I was partaking. And I sat down at this table, and we were playing cards, and there was this really large man sitting across from me. And he had said something to me, and I had a mouth on me. Like, I was pretty much a nightmare to raise. I mean, I was tough, and I was very stubborn, and I had a mouth on me, and he said something, and I don't remember what he said, but I piped back off to him, and before I knew it, he was up, and he was over that table, and he was on top of me, and he started to strangle me, and he was not letting go, and I was laying down, and he was on top of me, and as I started to lose consciousness and my breath, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die tonight. And I just kept hearing these people, get him off of her, he's gonna kill her. And finally, I don't know who it was, pulled him off. And as I came to and I started to catch my breath and get myself together, I went home, and I was so embarrassed. I did not want to tell my parents at all what happened at the time. And I grabbed a bag and I told my mom, I yelled down, I said, I'm going to my friend Nikki's house for the evening. And I literally packed a bag and dropped out of high school and took a one-way flight to Arizona. And, when I went to Arizona, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I was just a year older than you, priest. I mean, and I was just on my way and got myself to Arizona and had a lot of ups and downs, years there. Did a lot of things I wasn't very proud of. But it was those years that is where I learned to live what I like to call it, live my life in color. And it just taught me so much. And it's when I began to change. But I have to tell you guys, so the guy who tried to kill me that night ended up several years later getting 10 consecutive life sentences for committing murder. He shot his best friend in the chest 7 times. So the Lord wasn't done with me yet.
Yeah.
And, I think there again, if that wouldn't have happened to me and I would have went to Arizona and I wouldn't have been just at dead end road, then, that's when the fight of Gina came back out.
That was your burn moment.
That was the burn moment. And I was like, man, I either got to sink or swim. And I either can keep going down this path and keep getting myself in trouble and not get anywhere in life, or I can take my butt back home, go back to high school, which I did at 21 years old, got my diploma at 21, went and actually sat in the classroom
Wow.
with other students.
How hard was that?
So the Lord gave me a bone with that one, because about that time they started having teachers' aides, and so the teachers' aides were a little bit older, so I kind of got away with looking like a teacher's aide versus a student.
But you were a student.
I was a student. I went to class. I went to no more smoking section. I finished cosmetology school and basically got my shit together.
Powerful stuff there. And every time I hear that story, it truly gives me goosebumps, because we were that close to not being here. But another person that went through an almost life-threatening situation was Mikey Garcia, trying to make weight for a fight.
It's one of the things that, from my understanding, no fighter likes to do. I mean, that's the one thing all fighters hate, is cutting weight. We do it, you have to do it. And even though you have a good diet throughout your training camp and you're losing weight automatically just from working out and eating well, you lose weight. But then that week of the fight, some fighters are still 14, 16 pounds over. Some I've heard of even more drastic weight cuts that I've heard of fighters do. I never had that big of a weight cut. For me, it was always 6, 8 pounds max.
But no matter how much you have to cut, it's never, pleasant. It's always
Yeah.
ugly, and you feel, sick, and you sometimes do get sick. I've experienced it myself. So the cutting of the weight is probably the least, enjoyable moment
Yeah.
of a fighter's career.
So that week, obviously, don't do like water overload, right? Like you're drinking gallons of water.
Yeah,
And then-
it's changed. See, the strategies and the methods that we use for cutting weight now are very different than what my brother did back in the day in his career, and even further back. It's actually changed a lot to where it's a little healthier now by drinking a lot of water and maybe cutting the portions of food and the amount of food intake. Versus back in the day with my brother, they used to stop drinking. They wouldn't drink water for like those 3, 4, 5 days.
Oh man.
And it's punishing to the body. It takes a toll. But that's the thought process back then. That's what everybody was doing. That's the process that every fighter would do to cut weight. Now, with obviously new training techniques and better education, in the sport and about losing weight and everything, you've learned to do it in what I would say maybe a healthier way.
Yeah.
It's not healthy, but the healthiest that you can possibly do it. You're drinking a lot of water, and then that 24 hours before the actual weigh-in, you cut the water and then you burn it all off. And I mean, it's a little bit better, but it's still draining and tiring, and you feel like you're about to die.
Yeah.
You feel sick.
How's like the sleeping? Because I feel like if you're going to bed like super dehydrated and like tired, like do you even sleep well at all?
I'll tell you
Like the
one
day before,
story. I'll
yeah.
tell you one story. See, like I said, most of the times I didn't have a big weight cut. It was 6-8 pounds. It was fine. 6 to 8 pounds, not a big deal. Lose that and you're still pretty comfortable. But I'll tell you about one story. One time back in 2013, I was supposed to defend my featherweight title. I was trying to cut weight that week, and this is before we did the whole water. This is still old school method. We stopped drinking water and we were working out for like 3-4 days prior to the weigh-in, and my body shut down. I couldn't lose any more weight. I kept trying. I did get sick from doing so, to the point where I couldn't sleep that night before. I didn't sleep a single minute of the night. My body was in pain, like literally in pain. My whole body was in pain. I would toss and turn around bed trying to like get comfortable. I couldn't. I would grab the remote to try to watch some TV and see if that would help. And I realized I couldn't let go of the remote. My body was cramping up so much that I couldn't extend my fingers to let go of the remote. I would have to pry them with my other hand. That's how bad it got. So I know some of these fighters go through that every single time. I went through that one time, and I wasn't able to even make weight. I was about almost 2 pounds over. There was nothing else I could do. When people sometimes say, "Oh, he didn't even try," dude, you didn't know what I went through to try and actually make weight. You passed out. You faint. You wake up and you're on the floor and like, oh, what happened? So those are moments that I think a lot of fighters go through, but we just don't share them, or we don't share them enough. It was horrible. So I know that when I see some of these fighters and they're all ripped, I think they're probably at their weakest moments right there. At that scale, even though they looked all ripped and muscular and everything, they're at their probably weakest of the entire camp. The next day after they rehydrate, they're back to normal. It's crazy the way the body can do that.
Gosh, dude, cutting weight is just no joke, man. We've seen it firsthand, being behind the scenes with Henry Cejudo and Diego and Alessandro and Lupi and all of them. And it is literally no joke. But this reminds me of whenever Henry Cejudo talked about how adversity is a gift.
I think adversity is a gift. I think your perspective has a lot to do with adversity. How's it that you actually view it? But I think the unfortunate part is probably not having a father. Like, my legit blood. I think now me, having America, you guys see my little girl. It's, I try to be there, man. Sometimes as tough as it is, it's like, I wouldn't change it for the world. But then I go back and I think of their past, what's happened to them, and really understanding sometimes that's just the way life is. So I think the unfortunate part is at times not having that masculine energy, that masculine person that could teach you certain things, rather than being raised by your brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a you that I would consider. You know, for those who are watching, if you have kids or you pretend to have kids, like, be there. Be there, because not everybody is as fortunate to have a worldview or perspective like myself.
It was hard. I mean, I couldn't imagine not having a father figure. But looking back now, do you think that was beneficial to you? Because now you being a father, you're taking that extra push to be the best father you could be.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't know what you don't know, you know? But yeah, of course. I think it was able to pave the way to where I can understand life a little bit better. And it was better for him to be gone than for him to continue to keep being abusive to my mother and being on drugs. You know, my dad eventually, unfortunately, maybe that could be it too, is he died a year before the Olympics, before I became an Olympic gold medalist.
Oh.
And I was supposed to go see him like a month or two before he actually passed away. And my family didn't convince me to go. There's like an eerie feeling that I wanted to go see I wanted to finally meet this dude. I wanted to see his personality, like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the traits that a lot of people would tell me that I have of him, just to talk to him, even just one time, but that's not the way life works sometimes. So that was one thing that I feel like would have been cool, but maybe things work out the way it works out because we just don't know.
I think the number one thing that I've learned through this entire year of doing podcasts is perspective is everything. And Fernando Vargas painted a perfect picture with his sons right there about how powerful it is to have a perspective and a name that your family can be proud of.
When I found boxing, I was suspended for school for fighting. I was flipping through the channel because what are you gonna do? I'm home.
Yeah.
I'll watch TV. Right? So I was flipping through the channels. I saw amateur boxing. And I said, "What is amateur boxing on a local television station, Charles and Cable?" It said ringside boxing channel. Kids were fighting with headgears and winning trophies. I said, "Why? What is this? I could do that."
Yeah.
I was a kid that was in trouble as a kid, and you know, everybody in school from kindergarten to junior high knew me as Fernando Chavez. And why the Fernando Chavez? I was Fernando Chavez because I was under my mom's maiden name.
Mm-hmm.
I hated Fernando Vargas because that was my dad's name and he was a part of my life. Why am I gonna represent a name that was never there for me?
Yeah.
I remember when I got my USA boxing book, they said, I came with my birth certificate, and they said Fernando Vargas. I go, and USA boxing books is a book that all fighters know that it's not turning.
You have to use your birth certificate name.
You have to get what's on your birth certificate. And I remember I was 12 years old at the time when I got my book, and I was crying because it said, my book said Fernando Javier Vargas, which is my dad's name, and his last name. And I remember crying as a kid, and I said, and I made my decision as a man right there. As I was a young man, I felt I was already a man at that age. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Vargas is gonna start with me. That's right. And I'm gonna make it a name to start.
Yeah.
And my kids, but my wife is gonna have that name with me. And the Vargas is gonna start with me. It's not gonna be a drug addict's name, an ex-murderer's name, a deadbeat dad's name. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a name that they're gonna be proud of.
Yeah.
To have.
That's
My boys, and that's what I did with Vargas.
Aside from all the deep combos, there is so many other funny moments that happen within some of these podcasts. And that's why I love doing this. Just like how Uriah tried to FaceTime Conor McGregor on the mid-podcast episode.
I just gotta ask, what was your thoughts on Conor saying Python? And you're like, oh, we don't know what Python is. And
Yeah, I had to be quick on my.
You were quick on it.
He's a witty dude. They didn't put a lot of my stuff in there. editing, but we had a good time.
But you guys are still like kind of close, or
Yeah, we still talk. Yeah.
okay, that's good. I love whenever you and him competed in the watermelon dropping contest from the helicopter, and you beat him, and he was so mad.
Yeah, I let it simmer for a second. He kept asking me, "What'd you do?" I'm like, "Let that one."
You should send him a text and just remind him that you beat him in that.
Maybe I will.
Just give him a little reminder. Hey, remember when I beat you in that watermelon?
What is it? He's been going through it himself. He's probably having some burn moments right now. That guy.
Oh, for sure. What's your thoughts on the Ultimate Fighter right now?
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. All right, there he is. What's your burn moment, Connor?
What's your burn moment, Connor? Come on the show.
You know, he did pick up mid-interview, but he did later send us this clip.
Yo, right, what's up, my man? Guys, the Born podcast, what's up? My biggest Born moment was when I broke my leg in the last fight. I swear to God, it felt like someone was holding a flamethrower to my leg. It just felt like my leg was on fire. I didn't know what, it's hard to explain the pain I was going through at that time. So that would be my biggest Born moment. And very, very tough, but it's tough times that make strong people. So onwards we go. God bless and good luck with the podcast.
This portion of the Burn Factory podcast is sponsored by Phoenix Salon Suites. Please visit Phoenix Salon Suites at PHENIX Salons SALON Suites SUITES.com to find one near you.
As you guys may know, I was tragically burned in a school science experiment by my teacher that gave me a 50% chance to survive. And through that, I have to wear sunscreen every day for the rest of my life. And as being a golfer, the brand I trust is Kula.
Man, look at this bottle. Kula. This just screams beaches, waves, and sun. So let's give this a smell.
The nice wind, the Tropicana breeze.
This is smelling like Hawaii, our favorite place. So next time you guys need sunscreen, go get yourself Kula. You'll thank us later.
Be sure to revisit all the amazing podcasts that we have done this year. You can find them on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and not to mention we are on Fox Sports, iHeartRadio, and Up On Game Network. So go to any of those platforms and you will hear the Bird Factory podcast. Looking back, we've had some very funny moments on the shows, just like Sean Porter doing push-ups with me on his back. Or when Lexi Panther taught me and Freeze how to twerk. Your booty jiggling. Oh, don't remind me. Don't remind me. Not only did we do twerk contests, but we also ran some amazing contests for you guys. But I still think to this day, the biggest, the baddest, the best contest that we ever ran was that UFC 290 giveaway. Oh my gosh, it was insane. 2 first-class airline tickets, 2-night stay at a hotel, $500 worth of spending, and 2 floor seats to UFC 290 International Fight Week, the biggest and baddest UFC event. Come on.
What's up, guys? Burn Factory here, and we just announced the winner of the UFC 290 giveaway. It was I Am Rodrigo Walls.
Man, what an amazing giveaway, and man, did that feel good for Rodrigo. So we were super happy that you, Rodrigo, were able to experience that whole week, and we have some amazing contests coming again this next year. But on all the podcasts, all the episodes, all the people that we have met this year, there's still one thing that sticks out most to Priest and I, and that is the importance of giving back. So us being so close to the fight game now, we truly know what fighters go through on a day-to-day basis from all of our entertainment. So that has led us to start the Burn Factory stable of fighters, where we help out fighters any way we can. And we just want to end with this to you guys. It's just thank you so much for supporting us in the Burn Factory since day one. This would not be possible without you guys. So we just give you all the credit to what we do and just helping us continue to grow. And it's all about you guys, man. We're trying to help you guys inspire, keep you guys out of those tough times, and do more giveaways so you guys can experience what it's like attending a UFC event because they are the best, man. Yeah. Lastly, I just want to thank you, Bruce. You're a freaking warrior, dude. And what you went through 4 years ago, almost dying in that hospital, to see what you're doing now, inspiring thousands and thousands of people out there, inspiring me most out of all of them. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for letting me be the co-host. It's a 2024. Just know, we coming. And we're bringing that luggage too. But like always, like, comment, and subscribe at the Burn Factory Podcast. Always, please visit my foundation as well. It would need to be Priest James Foundation.org. Again, the Priest James Foundation.org to understand why this is called the Burn Factory. And we will see you guys in 2024. Peace. What a year it's been.
The Burn Factory.